Well, welcome to this edition of Intelligent Video Today. I'm your host, Steve Vonderhaar. Joining us on today's episode is James Broberg. Welcome, James.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Well, it's great to have you here. And not many folks are familiar with StreamShark, but you are an enterprise streaming platform. Tell us what you do from a platform perspective in terms of enabling video in the enterprise.
Absolutely. We do like to say sometimes we're the best kept secret in enterprise live streaming,
Yeah.
which is sometimes good and sometimes bad. But basically, yeah, we're an enterprise video platform, which essentially means we're an end-to-end platform that handles everything from signal contribution, whether it's from hardware sources, video encoders, software sources, web conferencing systems, all the way through to ingest, players, playouts, video CMSs, and all the sort of exciting things around protecting content and delivering it to where it needs to be in the globe in the format that it needs to be.
All right. So you make video in the enterprise work.
We make it happen, and it's true end to end. A lot of people say they're end to end, but I think one of the things that we're really proud of at StreamShark is we've pressed into both sides of the space, all the way into the data center or the event space, all the way through to the play out devices, whether it's a desktop, a mobile device, or even a VR headset.
Yeah, now you're joining me for this interview today from down under, from Australia, so quite a distance away. So far away, it's already tomorrow there. So we appreciate you visiting us from the future. But really, I shouldn't even mention Australia, though, because distance is becoming less and less relevant in this business. Could you tell us a little bit about how remote applications have really taken hold since the pandemic? How has the world of enterprise streaming changed since COVID?
Yeah, I'd say it's changed pretty dramatically. Like, yes, we are Australian-based in terms of this is where our engineering hub is, and this is where the innovation happens. But we're a global company. We have a global customer base with staff in the US and other places. But yeah, it's definitely changed fairly dramatically. I'd say during COVID in particular, and post-COVID. So during COVID, people in the same office in San Francisco couldn't even get together to have a meeting. It was all remote. So us being somewhere else was not an inhibitor at all, and that we could support them just as well from Australia or Europe as we could if we're in Silicon Valley there. And they've really had to adapt. So I think early stages of COVID was just getting through, like, how can we just pull what we have off the shelf and just make something happen? Let's get a live event out there, and let's just use the tools we've had at hand. But I think as time has gone on, the bar has gone up, and the expectations have gotten a lot higher in terms of the quality of stream that people expect, in terms of the production values that people expect, and the tooling and the hardware that's evolved, particularly in the last 18 months.
Yeah, now you really leaned in heavily into the whole concept of virtual production. Tell us what virtual production is, and why is it relevant to enterprise users today?
Yeah, I think it's extremely critical. I think, during the start of the pandemic, I think virtual production could have been something as basic as bridging your video conferencing system to a live stream. And let's be frank, that's what a lot of folks did just to get by. Just had the what we call the Brady Bunch view out of a Zoom call.
Right.
And that was enough, I guess, just to get the message out. But as time has gone on, people are using more sophisticated tools. A lot of people call, cloud-based virtual production when it's really not. Sometimes it's just literally desktop production software running, in an EC2 Windows instance.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was whatever got the job done. But these days, I think people are expecting more cloud-native solutions that ideally let you seamlessly mix in, on-demand content, pre-recorded content when you've kind of front-loaded the effort to make high-quality assets, and then mixed in with live content, live presenters, and sophisticated production values, lower thirds, and things of that nature.
So what are some of the key elements? And you ticked off a few of them in related to doing a virtual production and doing a virtual setup. But what are some of the key elements that really make virtual production really sing?
I think it kind of starts at signal acquisition, and I think even post-pandemic, there's still a hybrid mindset where you've got to mix in, live presenters, live audiences, even, but also seamlessly mix in that remote talent. And for that remote talent, the bar has really been lowered in terms of pulling that in at super high quality, and that's just something that's changed radically, even in the last 18 months. So as long as they've got a good camera, a good light source, a good mic. So this is a great example here. I've got what now is a fairly consumer-priced webcam that looks as good as a digital SLR did, 3 years ago. I've got a Blue Yeti mic in front of me, and we can pull out a really great high-quality, high-definition signal with stereo audio and mix that seamlessly into a high-end live production, and mix it with people that might be in person, mix it with audience reactions, and it's a first-class citizen. So the virtual people, the virtual participants are looking as good, broadcast quality, as good as it did 3 or 4 years ago when we had production staff, ATEM mixers, HD cameras, elemental lives pushing up a HD signal. It's pretty much almost a parity there, and the uplift is huge because it's using a lot of the tools that exist already that have just really matured in the last 18 months, whether it's the Zooms or the Teams of the world. If you've got a Zoom room or a team space, like that could be a broadcast studio now, and that's really exciting, and that's unlocked a lot of opportunities for event staff and unified communication staff.
Yeah, because whatever anybody says, quality still sells in this environment, doesn't it?
I think people just don't want to sit on another Zoom call that's just a pixelated mess where someone's dialed in from a coffee shop. If it's something of importance, if it's an announcement, if it's a town hall or an all hands or a product launch, like there's an expectation of quality there. And thankfully, these tools have become super commodified. It's very easy to put these tools and this affordable hardware into the hands of the people that need to participate in a virtual production.
Now, as you said, a lot of people have Zoom tools, but what are the specific attributes that an enterprise streaming platform can bring to bear that really differentiates it from, if you're shopping for one of these things, what attributes should you be looking for from your solution?
Yeah, I think it's all these great virtual productions are all for naught if the stream goes down, or if it's not playable, or if it's not working in certain regions or certain devices. So I think, resiliency, redundancy, reliability is paramount for an enterprise platform. So yeah, it's going to have a lot of the same attributes as a traditional, OVP or a YouTube, but it's essentially like very coarsely described it. It starts at a white labeled YouTube, but the expectation on top of that is pretty significant in terms of the analytics that a customer of an EVP would expect to get out of the platform, in terms of the security and the protection that they would expect to get out of it. Often, a lot of these platforms are dealing with, highly sensitive commercial or confidential information. So that needs to be gated and protected, needs to work with their identity platform. There's, when we talk about scale, they're scaling a large scale external event, which, might be a big product launch for 1 million people, and that's a great unique scaling problem that someone like us, StreamShark, can handle. But scaling an internal event is very different and needs a very different set of technologies and tools and capabilities. When you've got 10,000 people in a high-rise building all trying to watch the HD stream, you'd be surprised how negatively that can impact corporate networks. So the design is quite different, the implementation is quite different, and the ways that they go about delivering that quality of experience is different as well. So they're at least some of the key attributes of an enterprise video platform, but it evolves from there. And I think, as always, these things can't go down. Failure's not an option. So it's really just bringing in that redundancy and reliability, and having all the giving every possible chance that the event is going to be a success.
If people can't watch it, it really doesn't have much impact on the enterprise communications experience now, does it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's that's the paramount thing for engagement. It can't buffer, it can't go down. It needs to work in every region on all the devices that the employees have. So that's job number one for an enterprise video platform. That's table stakes.
Yeah, well, enough of this talk of resilience and reliability. Let's get to the stuff that we always talk about here at Intelligent Video Today. You can't come here without talking about artificial intelligence. Tell us a little bit about how you think AI is going to impact the content capture process in these virtual settings.
Yeah, I think on a number of fronts. Like, I think the most obvious, and I think where there's already a bit of traction, is just around accessibility, and that can be things like captioning. Obviously, captioning in the native language that's occurring. We see that's a fairly common feature in a lot of platforms that are out there. But I think where it gets interesting is real-time live translation. So that's text-based translation to other languages, which is hard to do in an accurate way. And then beyond that, synthesized voices in other languages as well. That's a really interesting sort of opportunity we see in the space, where the presentation from the CEO might be in English, and it's both being text translated as well as being translated in terms of synthetic voice in multiple languages. So that's great from an accessibility perspective. That's really sort of becoming a non-negotiable. But beyond that, I think pulling out interesting metadata from the content. That could be speaker detection, that could be automatic shot selection for a virtual production, generating interesting metadata so that it then becomes a really interesting bit of long tail content where someone 6 months or 12 months down the track can find it because it's been enriched with tags, because it's been summarized by ChatGPT, for instance, to get the essence of the content out of it. I think that's an exciting opportunity as well. So I think, and then, just the seamless mixing of, on-demand and live content, I think is something that we're seeing a lot in the space, and that's going to continue. But also, generative AI, I think is super interesting. So that's basically taking, some high-level text description and actually generating a coherent bit of video content that matches or reflects that text that can, be a point of visual interest, between sessions or as a lead into a live event, for instance. So I think that's just the tip of the iceberg, but there's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, that's quite a list of things that AI is going to be enabling over time. And this question may be piggybacking off that a little bit, but if you look at your crystal ball 3 to 5 years down the line, what are some of the big trends that we should be expecting for when we're looking at the virtual production tool marketplace?
Yeah, I think in addition to what I've sort of talked about, I think bringing in that concept of UGC, I think is interesting. I think we're seeing a little bit of it now. I think now virtual productions themselves have been democratized. We're finding customers are generating a lot more of events because it's not limited to very expensive production equipment. So
and of course UGC is user generated content.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So that can be on demand content, but that can extend to live as well. So just to kind of give you, I guess, some examples from the music world. There was a movie from the Beastie Boys many years ago called Awesome I Shot That, where they gave out, a couple of dozen cameras at a concert, and then they basically mixed in all the vision and mixed it in with the professional content as well. And that was painstaking. That took them, I think, a couple of years to put that movie together. But that's literally something you can do live now.
Yeah.
So if you've got, and that doesn't have to be limited to Hollywood content. That could be a town hall. That could be a all company meeting. Where you can get some on-the-ground type content and seamlessly mix it in. You can basically get a pretty high-quality SRT feed from an iPhone and actually do that live now. So that's how far things have come, in 15, 20 years.
Someday that'll be a TikTok, won't it?
Well, yeah, and I think it's, and that's probably one of the other aspects, I think, is bringing in that kind of enriching that content, making it a bit more interesting for people that are watching it. I think you want to pull in information from where the conversation or the discourse is happening. So that could be from TikTok or Twitter, wherever that might be, wherever the conversation is happening around an event, you can pull that in addition to your on-demand and your live assets as well, and make something really compelling and engaging.
James Broberg, CEO and founder of StreamShark. Thanks for coming all the way from Australia to visit the Intelligent Video Studios today.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Steve.
And thanks to you and our audience for watching today's episode. And be sure to tune in for additional interviews with thought leaders like James regarding key trends in the intelligent video space. For IntelliVid Research, I'm Steve Otterhar. Thanks for your time.